Well, welcome to Age-Friendly Thunder Bay. I'm pleased that we're here at the start of a brand new year, and Happy New Year to all of our viewers. Today, I'm Rebecca Johnson, the host of the program, and we're going to be talking to Ruth Hamlin-Douglas, who is a librarian, but your formal title is Community Hub Librarian Program Supervisor, which is a real handful.
Oh yeah, it's a mouthful, and as it is, I already have a last name that's a mouthful, so I'm just happy to be the programming librarian.
And a librarian, if we even go to shrink that a little bit more. Today we're going to talk, though, Ruth, about, or in our program, it's actually a month we watch the program.
Right.
So with this month's program, talking about libraries, how important they are to the community, and particularly to seniors who use the library. I've been using the library since I was about this high. So, you know, and now I'm at the other end of my life as a senior, and I still use the library a lot. Where are the libraries located? If you were sitting here as an isolated community resident and you are a new resident to Thunder Bay and said libraries, you know, have an idea of what a library is, where are they located here?
So we've got 4 physical branches in Thunder Bay, 2 in the sort of like old downtowns. We were talking before the program about the merger of Thunder Bay and the old Fort William and Port Arthur. So we have one on Red River Road. That's our Waverley Library and where our administration is centered, but also we have a large auditorium there and we offer quite a number of programs. We have the Brodie Street Library, which is right next to City Hall, makes it kind of an easy to find location. And then we have 2 community branch libraries, so they're a little bit smaller. One of them is the Mary J. L. Black Library, which is located in West Fort, right next to the West Thunder Community Center. And the other is the County Fair Library, County Park Library, located in County Fair Mall. I've been tripping up over that for years. I've been here almost 17 years and I still regularly call it the County Fair Library instead of the County Park.
With the libraries, I assume because I go to 2 or 3 of them on a regular basis, they have different hours, so that's something you need to check out on all the time.
It's always good to confirm the hours. We try not to change them too frequently. It gets confusing, not just for the public, but also for staff.
Right.
So currently, our 3 larger libraries, so the Waverley, Brodie, and Mary J. L. Black libraries are all open 2 evenings a week, and County Park has 1 evening a week. So we have Waverley open on Monday and Tuesday evenings, so they're open from 9:30 until 8 p.m. those days, and then 9 until 5 Wednesday through Saturday. Brodie is open Monday 9:30 to 5, Tuesday and Wednesday 9:30 until 8, and then Thursday and Friday 9:30 till 5. And Mary J. L. Black is Monday, Tuesday 9:30 till 5, Wednesday, Thursday 9:30 till 8, Friday and Saturday 9:30 till 5.
I'm impressed that you remember all that.
I can do one more. I can do County Park.
Yeah, go ahead.
So County Park is Monday through Wednesday, 9:30 to 5. Thursday, they're at 12 to 8. They've got a smaller staff, so we kind of have to be a little bit flexible.
Yeah.
And then on Fridays from 9:30 till 5.
So there is a flexibility. And one of the things I find is a real advantage is when I borrow books, I can borrow one from the library, say the Brodie Street. I can take it back to Mary J. L. Black. And so you have that opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah, we want to make things as easy for people as possible.
Yeah.
So you can always request books from other libraries and return them. It doesn't matter. We have a wonderful, wonderful man who drives our books around at night, and I think we need to write a book about him because it just seems almost magical. Every morning we get back and we've got our books coming from the other branches. We get them ready for our patrons to come and pick up or put them back on our shelves depending on, where they are.
If you were walking to the library, I'm going to use Mary J. L. Black for an example in West Fort. If you were going to walk to that library and you wanted a book, then they will bring it, like you're saying, to that library. If it's not there, then whatever book you want, they will bring it. And it's not just books, it's videos and a whole variety of things.
DVDs, audio books, all sorts of children's items. And then over the years, we've gotten into a variety of sort of specialty items, like walking pools. Those were actually sponsored by Chartwell. We have radon detectors that we worked with Eco Superior to make those available. We've had electricity meters, probably, I don't even know how long they've been there because they've been there longer than I have.
Right.
So we really work at providing a variety of options for people, and sometimes things they won't think of having at a public library. And we always try to promote those things when they're new. Oh, our garden tool lending libraries.
Yes,
that we have at
that's right.
Waverley and Brodie that we worked with Roots to Harvest. So there's all these things that come up, and often when an organization thinks there's something that would be really great to lend, I can provide it, but I don't have the expertise in how to get it into people's hands.
Right.
That's where we can sometimes step in and help.
Do you still, I think I asked you this question before we even started today, was do you still loan out iPads and things like that?
So we have tablets. They're not
Okay.
iPads, but they're another
Form
right.
thereof, yeah. Machine,
And
some machine, yep, got it.
we have them, and we have Chromebooks and Rocket Hubs. So they're available. There is a holds list for them. There are people waiting, but they are available for people to borrow. And that came out of a program that was bridging the digital divide in 2020.
Right, so it's relatively new.
Relatively new. Initially, it was working with very specific groups, but now it's open to our entire community. And that sometimes happens too, is that someone will bring an idea and say, I want to do this. It's focused on one, perhaps, sector of the community.
Yes.
And working perhaps with other organizations. But then as time goes on, we're often able to offer to the community as a whole.
And this is really important for people that are home by themselves or in an apartment by themselves, and they want to access. We're going to get into in the rest of our program a little bit about the loan program, so that you don't even have to go out if you don't want to. Somebody will bring you some articles or some books or whatever from the library.
With our home service program, yeah. I think we can talk about that in some greater detail.
I think that's really, really important because, and there's so many other programs, we're going to get into that later on in the program, and we're going to talk about the newsletter that comes, and how, the newsletter I have, and I see you have brought a copy too, because it's really, really interesting what's in here in regards to, but we're going to get into that as well. So as we're going along with the program this afternoon and today and evening, whatever part of the day it happens to be when you're watching us, certainly Ruth Hamlin-Douglas, my guest, who's a librarian here in Thunder Bay. And make sure that if you're interested in the program itself of Age Friendly, go onto our website, Age Friendly Thunder Bay, and there's a little survey that you can do on the front page and give us your input into the program and what you would like to see as program in the future content. And we would be very pleased to bring you the guests that you're looking for and information that you need to service yourself as an individual here in our community of Thunder Bay. So Ruth, we'll be back in a few minutes and we'll talk about the newsletter and a whole bunch of other things relative to libraries.
Lovely, thank you.
Well, welcome back to Age Friendly Thunder Bay. Rebecca Johnson, your host, and my guest today is Ruth Hamlin-Douglas, who's a librarian here in Thunder Bay. And we're talking about libraries, programs that the library has for you, the senior in our community. I want to talk about the newsletter. This is the January to March of 23 newsletter. And if you open it, I put a little sticky here. It talks about adult programs. So this is for anybody that wants to, first off, there's a whole bunch of other information in it. How do you get the newsletter?
It's meant to be delivered to every home. That's part of our agreement with Chronicle Journal.
Yep.
And it's very, very important to us that it's available in print. We know that for our senior population, having paper is really important, that you may not have access to the internet at home. So how are we going to make sure that our patrons are aware of what we're offering? We also have copies available for pickup at the library. So if for some reason you don't get it at home, you can always come in and grab a copy. You can call us and find out if they're available yet. They come out quarterly. So we, as you said, we have January to March in our hands.
Right.
Then we will have our our April to June.
Right, yeah.
Then our July to September and October to December.
One of the things, as I said, the adult programs, I mean, you have things, especially for people 55 plus. And is that something over and above the programs that are listed here, or is this what this means?
So the especially for 55 plus, those are ones that we run in partnership with the City of Thunder Bay.
All right.
So many years ago, when Mary Jail Black Branch was built, one of the things that was discussed with our community program room was that the Herb Carroll Center wasn't really great for offering programming.
Yeah.
So we have the wonderful 55 plus center on the north side of town, but there was a struggle in serving our 55 plus community on the south side.
Correct.
And so this is why we have some special programming that we offer in partnership. And that is our Witness group, of which I'm a founding member.
Okay.
And our Retirement Explorers. So they're two really dynamite groups that meet weekly in our Mary Jael Black branch. The rest of our adult programming is open to adults of all ages. However, you'll find many of our adult programs are offered in the afternoon or early evening, and that is deliberate. Part of that is to make it accessible for seniors. We know a lot of our regulars don't love going out after dark, especially in the winter, but also for families. Sometimes an evening is an earlier evening is easier to work into your family schedule. You can go home, have a quick supper, come back and join us, and still get the kids to bed.
Right.
And for some of our seniors, that may be going home, quick supper, and getting your grandkids to bed. Because we have seniors of all stripes in our community, right? And different experiences.
If you wanted to sign up for, I'm just going to use, I'm just taking this for connect to your iPhone. I'm just picking that. It doesn't matter which program you take, but if you wanted to do this, how do I sign up? It says devices are not provided, but irregardless of that, how do you sign so I can go to this program?
So there's different ways to sign up.
Okay.
You can sign up, if you do have a device at home to sign up with, you can sign up online for all of our programs. You can also call your branch or visit your branch.
Okay.
And when I say your branch, I do mean that if that program is offered, and that one I believe is at Mary Jael Black, but if Waverly is your home branch and that's where you usually go, you can go into Waverly and they will sign you up for that program.
Oh, all right.
We do as much as we can at point of service,
Right.
rather than saying, oh no, for that, I'm sorry, Rebecca, you're going to have to drive across town to sign up.
Yeah.
You may have to drive across town to attend the program, but we won't make you do that to register.
Okay. And there's one about cooking and retirement. What about genealogy? As a senior, you're always, not always, but many people are interested in genealogy. You've had programs about that.
We have had programs about genealogy. We've had programs in partnership with the Ontario Genealogical Society. I hope I got that right. I haven't. I always am using the acronym of OGS. We've offered programs in partnership with them in the past.
Okay.
A lot of things we're sort of easing back into after all the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So we had no in-person programming until this past summer. We started slowly reopening. We're reconnecting with some of our past partners. So as an example, we have some programming coming up this winter with the St. Joseph's Care Group, their chronic pain management program. So we're just easing back into those pieces.
Right. One of the things too, when I'm thinking about this particular one about iPhones, if you were doing and wanting to learn a little bit about technology, I don't have a computer, so what do? Do you have computers in the library? Can I get can I go into the library and get an email address so that I don't want to buy, say if I don't want to buy a computer, I can't afford it or whatever else, I can still access the computer. Can I do that in the library?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So there's two things to sort of unpack there. One is, yes, you can access a computer in the library. Whether or not you have a library card, we do allow guest use, although we always encourage a library card.
Yeah.
The other is that we have a group that we call the coaches, and they're people who can help. So you can book an appointment with one of our library coaches in using technology. My favorite example about email use is in 1998, my father had heart surgery in South Africa. And my grandmother, who lives in southwestern Ontario, wanted to keep up with what's going on. So she went to her local library. She set up a Hotmail account, and she was able to keep in touch with my mother about what was happening as it happened. She then didn't need the email account anymore, and she stopped using it. She said, why would I get the internet? Why would I get, a computer when I can walk to my public library and have full access? And it is the same for our community here as it is for her in southwestern Ontario.
Right. If you were a grandparent, that would be a good way to keep in touch with your grandparents without actually owning a computer.
If you want to see photos your grandchildren are sharing online, or to communicate with them, if your grandkids go away to school and you aren't necessarily going to be having weekly phone calls, you could set up an email account and come visit us.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so you get two visits in one, really. You get to email your family member, but you get to come see us at the library as well.
So if I wanted to go to the library and I don't know, maybe have sign up to on a computer to take a webinar, for example, like a learning opportunity. Could I go in, say, every Monday at 3 o'clock and do that?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can do
And
that.
we might, set it up with you in advance to ensure that we've got a computer
Correct.
secured. It depends on how busy that branch is.
I understand that,
But
yeah.
we can certainly make things like that work. And when you were asking about genealogy, we have a lot of people are familiar with Ancestry, and people can have personal Ancestry accounts. But we have the Ancestry Library Edition, which provides much more information than you can access with a personal account. So
Right.
that's one of those little extras
Yeah.
that is worth coming in and using our computers for.
Well, that's a good way to end our segment, we'll call it, here on Age Friendly right now. Ruth is going to be our guest again in a few moments, and so stay tuned for what we're talking about libraries and how you can use them as a senior. And if you're an isolated senior, make sure that you're looking at the library for entertainment and contacts. Well, welcome back to Age Friendly Thunder Bay. Rebecca Johnson, your host, and Ruth Hamlin-Douglas, my guest today. And we are talking about libraries and how and programs that are available. And Ruth, there is so much that you can do from a library. But if you're home, and I always talk about an isolated senior because there's a lot of, unfortunately, people don't go out for whatever reason. So we sometimes have to bring services to them. You provide from the library a service, a home service.
That's right. Yeah,
So tell us about it.
So our home service operates out of Brodie and Waverley, or I said Brodie, Mary Jail Black and Waverley. Back when I first met you, it operated out of Brodie.
Yeah.
But so it's out of Mary Jail Black and Waverley. We have 2 staff who are dedicated to that service. And the way it works is that either a family member or a volunteer, we have volunteers who are all members of our Friends of the Library, do the delivery. So they don't need to come in and pick the books. Say that your neighbor is a big reader, but you have no idea what to bring her.
Right, they like to read.
You might want to set up a home service account. And so those staff, they have a conversation with the reader and determine what sort of books they're looking for. Do they need print books? Do they need audio books? Because we do have, a large number of visually impaired seniors as well. We've been able to purchase Victor readers, which are for using with audiobooks. We get them, I believe we got them from the Center for Equitable Library Access, but I could be, things I didn't necessarily research before coming, but I think is really important because they are something that people who are visually impaired can access. They're a bit pricey to get, so sometimes people borrow ours before making that kind of a commitment. Anyhow, so we find out what they want. We're not going to send someone who loves light family relationship books. We're not going to send them murder mysteries.
No.
Or thrillers. So we try to get the right content for the person in the right format, and then we have bags that go out for 6 weeks. So they also have a longer loan period than our standard because of the nature of having a volunteer go or a family member. We need to ensure that there's sort of enough space and that these people aren't just getting overdues on their card when we can't offer an every 3-week service.
So you can have some new books come to you every 6 weeks. One of the things you didn't mention, but I know you have, is you have large print.
We do have large print.
And that's really helpful for a lot of seniors.
And what's really exciting that's changed over the course of my career is when I first started, large print would often come out after the sort of mass market. So there'd be the great new book that everyone wants to read, and you'd be waiting 3 or 6 months for a large print or an audiobook to come out.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more simultaneous release now. So if someone is visually impaired and reading large print, or someone who doesn't want the book falling on their glasses when they fall asleep reading at night.
Yeah, it happens.
Might happen to some of us. They're not waiting to read those books. So you're able to also have those conversations with your friends who are reading the same books at the same time.
Yeah, and one of the things too, we didn't mention this, but if you have a favorite author, for example, that you like to read, then you send out on a monthly basis a list of all the books that are new coming into the library, so you can find that author and say, I would like to book that book
We
to come
often
in.
have people show up with a new and upcoming list, and they've highlighted
Yeah.
which books they'd like to have placed on hold.
Right.
And on that list, it always says, these books are able to be placed on hold starting on
Right.
January 1st.
Correct.
Well, it would probably have been January 2nd. but-
Right. One of the other things you mentioned is about volunteering. And can seniors, older adults, be volunteers in the library?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right now, our primary volunteer system is Friends of the Library. So the Friends of the Library have their bookstore,
Right.
which is a big fundraiser for the library. They also work in other ways to support the library and to sort of promote the library in the community. That same grandmother was also a friend of the library and president of her friends group. But we have the Friends, and the Friends also, some of them are our volunteers who do home service. We're currently working on getting a reading program going again for young children. We're looking at sort of grade 2 and 3. A lot of kids struggle with reading, and the reading practice you do at home, it can be really hard to do with the parent. Children often want their parents to just fill things in for them, and they're much more forgiving of other people. So we used to have readers or leaders. COVID put us all to the side. We're now looking at starting up a little bit more informal reading buddies program. So it's less intimidating for the volunteer. We're not asking you to teach. We're just asking you to read with a child once a week.
Right.
So we're looking to get that launched again in April. It will actually be Tuesday evenings at the Waverly Branch.
That would be so that's intergenerational, is really
Yes.
important. And again, the opportunity for older adults to participate in something that they like to do as well.
Well, and it allows them to pass it to the next
Yeah,
generation,
yeah.
right? And we do have, not everyone has a grandparent, not everyone has a grandchild.
Right.
Those relationships can actually be really rich and rewarding for both sides.
Would it be, if I decided to join and participate that, would I have the same child over a period of time so I could build that
It would
relationship
be
up?
over the entire course of that period. So I think
Okay.
it's probably going to be a 7-week run just because of when long weekends fall.
Right.
But for those 7 weeks, you would be with the same child.
Oh, right.
And we often, in the past, when we had readers or leaders, we would have volunteers return and children return for several sessions, and they would often request each other.
Right.
So we really do our best to help maintain relationships.
And just quickly, because we're coming to the end of our program, but the bookstore, it's in Victoriaville still.
That's correct.
Victoriaville's still there. Who knows what's going to happen, but irregardless, it's right there now, and I can go in and purchase a book if
Yes.
I want to.
Yep. The books there are either donations. So when people donate to the library, we reserve the right to pass on to the friends.
Right.
Sometimes we already have too many copies of that book, or it just doesn't fit within what we need at that time. So
Right.
we'll often pass to the friends, or it may be withdrawn material. We will not put anything in there that's withdrawn that is out of date information. So you're not going to find a 1980s medical textbook.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
we will recycle.
Right.
And so the plan actually for the bookstore, because of Victoriaville and what's happening there, is to move it into Brodie.
Oh, all right.
So we're not in if Victoriaville were to be knocked down tomorrow, we have no plan, we have plans.
You've already got that thought about. But there's so many programs and opportunities within the library system. You have 4 libraries now. To be able to, as an older adult, to go and use them is so very important.
Well, and beyond that, we have the online. So if
Yeah.
you do have online access, you
That's
can
right.
access our ebooks, our e-audio books, do some of your research from home. And for us, we love having our older adults visit. So for those who are isolated, sometimes it's worth considering that come and borrow a book if you can get it. If you can physically get out,
Right.
come and say
do
hi.
that.
Come read the newspaper,
Yes.
borrow a book,
Read a
get
magazine.
to know us.
Yeah, very important. Ruth Hamlin-Douglas, my guest today. And Ruth, enjoy. Thank you for giving us all this information. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure you're going to have more older adults coming in to visit you.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me,
you.
Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Linda DePiro, and today's focus is going to be on the mobility and strengthening of our hands. So let's start pounding the palm or tapping the palm. That's going to kind of stimulate the fascia, the connective tissue, on top of the hand, right? You can flutter, squeeze in between the fingers, right? Just to kind of get it warmed up. Now imagine that your hand is kind of sticky, so it's been in honey or syrup, and you want to scrape off that film. So start with your thumb at the base of the finger and just scrape up and let the pointer finger reverse that. You want to do this nice and slow, and with each finger about 10 or 8 to 10 times, and then go to the next finger. So this improves the blood flow, working the fascia and warming up the muscles and the ligaments. Okay, so do every finger about 8 times. Rotating at the wrist will increase circulation of the synovial fluid. And these little elastics that you get with broccoli are great little tools. So you just stretch and hold and then release. So this is great for strengthening the muscles around the joints, lubricates and cushions the joints to keep them moving smoothly, and it could be really great for arthritis. And then change fingers. So again, about 8 to 10 times, just stretching and holding, right? Then this last one I really like, it's called the eel. So you kind of put all your fingers and your thumb in there, and it's just like an eel, if you've ever met one swimming in the beach. Comes out and in. So do this a few times, and of course I'm just doing the one hand, so you're gonna have to do the other hand. Now, when you remove the elastic, just compare your hands, the one that you did and the one that you didn't. You did a great job. Give yourself a hand.